Welcome back to another great episode of Comedians in Bed, where comedians can be comedians. And I don't really know what that means, but it just sounds like something that you should say on a podcast. As you can see, today's guest, there is no guest. It's only me, baby. Give it up for me. Yeah. Be here today. And today's episode is just basically I'm going to show you guys or tell you guys about how to produce a comedy show. I am so eager and so happy to talk to you guys about because it is something that I've done before, something that I'm currently doing, getting back into it. And I just want to help you guys produce, get your foot out there in other ways, in the comedy game. So happy about that. But before we get started, make sure you like and subscribe on my YouTube channel. Make sure you like, subscribe, and leave a review. Spotify, iTunes. I don't know if it's called iPodcast. I don't know. Wherever you listen to podcasts, just please leave a review, leave a rating, because we only have two. And if we want this show to grow, get better, we got to do. Maybe I need to do a better job. I don't know. I'll take responsibility for that. But we got to get those numbers up. So if you can like, subscribe, share it to somebody, whatever you got to do, please leave a review. I greatly appreciate it. Right now, currently, I am on the Hot Boy Summer Tour. I'm so excited about that. Can we get it? I mean, DJ, can we get applause for that or? Boy Summer Tour. Currently, right now, as you guys are seeing this, I am this airs today on Tuesday. Tomorrow is Juneteenth. Hey, I think tomorrow is Juneteenth. I'm so excited. I'm off tomorrow. White people, y'all better not be off tomorrow. Even if they say you off, you better go in or you better volunteer somewhere, go pick up trash in the hood, do something. But anyways, I will be at the Columbus Funny Bone next week on the 26th for the funniest person in Columbus competition. I will be on that show on June the 26th. Also, I will be at Wiley's Comedy Club this weekend on the 28th and hopefully the 30th. Everything should go smooth, should go well, so it should still be on the 30th. So check me out. Also got some dates in July, early July, still in Columbus, still in Dayton. All my dates on my IG. Go ahead and follow me on IG at TYE Comedy. Once again, that's TYE Comedy. There may be, there's some hoes that's listening to this. You can add me on OnlyFans at Ty Daddy. What we're going to do right now is we're going to jump into how to produce a comedy show. First of all, if you're a comic, you want to get more stage time, you want to network, you want to learn the business of comedy, the business side of comedy, you're going to want to start producing shows. I feel like as a comic, you should produce shows in general. I'm not saying that you have to continuously produce shows, but you should at least produce one. You know what I mean? Because at any given moment, even if you are a club regular, they may be like, hey, can you produce this show? Even though if it's in a club or whatever, it may be a little bit easier, but you still want to have those tools, those traits to help you so that you know what to do going forward. And being a producer is pretty fun. Growing up, I thought of a producer being like, for movies, for albums, stuff like that. But when you say producer of comedy shows, it's a little bit different. The sentiment is still the same. You're producing, you're creating, you're coming up with the idea or the concept of the creative art, so that's what producing is. That's the best way I can describe it, the only way I can describe it. So the first thing you want to do, and I probably should have put this up here, and you know what, I'm gonna do it right now. This is on the spot. First thing you want to do when you are producing a comedy show is you want to find a venue. Finding the venue is so important. The reason why you want to find the venue is because when you find that venue, man, it just makes it a little bit easier when you can have a place that has everything that you need and that you want. So that way you can make the show a lot more easier. That's the thing about it, is making the show easier for you, because especially if you're producing the show and Performing, that could be a little hard. Not a little hard, a whole lot of hard. And that's honestly the main reason why I stopped producing shows, for real, honestly. Was because it was getting a little bit harder when you're doing it by yourself. And when you have a venue that believes in you and believe in what you have to offer, it can actually be a lot more easier. The thing about finding a venue though is you want to make sure you find a venue that has like the equipment that you need. Like if they have stereo, they have mics, they have a soundboard, maybe a audio guy that can come in when they have shows or events that could help you with that. I will always go to like music halls if you can, like small little music halls or like small little bars that have stages. Look at places that already have open mics that maybe, hey, would you guys like to do like a monthly showcase or whatever? Go talk to the person that just go up there, talk to them and see what they could do. You might even could hit up a comedy club and be like, hey, I have this concept for a show. I want to see if I could produce it and bring it here. When you go in there, make sure you negotiate the price of the tickets. They're gonna be $10, 15, and they may give you the whole door admission. Be like, okay, I'll let you do a show here. You can have the door where you get all the liquor sales. They may ask you for 20% of the door, 30% of the door, whatever. That's totally fine. You just have to negotiate that. Um, I'm not gonna tell you what your price should be. I've seen comedy shows be for free, $5, $10, donations, 20, $40. It's up to you. I would say base it on, maybe the talent, or maybe if it's the first time, maybe we just make it $15. Make it simple, make it $10, whatever. I'm not really sure. I can't tell you what what the price should be. That's up to you, but you definitely want to negotiate that, talk all about that. Make sure, hey, can my comics get a drink ticket? Is there a green room? Is there a spot for them to sit and relax when they are away from everybody, so nobody's bothering them? Is there a place that we could smoke if you have smokers? You want to ask all these questions, ask all the venue, make sure you have a solid venue that has a good reputation of like in a good environment, have a good reputation of working with people, paying people, things of that nature, so that it runs smoothly. All right. So after that, the second thing that you want to have next is, of course, you want to pick that infamous date. Like set a date. All right. We're going to do this 6 months from now. We're going to do this 3 months from now. We're going to do this in 2 weeks. I gotta be honest with you, I don't really know what's a good time frame to put a show together. I mean, you can put a show together in a week, you can put a show together in a day. It just all depends how quickly people get back to you. That's another thing. If you don't get back to me very quickly, I'm going to move on and book somebody else. For real. But you have to set a date. It depends on you what date you want to set. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. It could be Sundays. Only thing I would say about picking a date is man, you gotta really be mindful. Like here in Columbus, right? Um, During the fall, I would be more reluctant to do a show on a Saturday, like at 8 o'clock at night, because the Buckeyes might be playing that night. I might be reluctant to do a show on Sunday evening at 6 because football might be on that night. You know what I mean? So you have to think about those things. Take that into consideration when you do pick a date. You know what I mean? Because it's your small little comedy show that just started against NFL games, hockey games, basketball games, birthdays, wedding anniversaries. So just keep that in mind. Don't stress too much about it. Just say, okay, if I want to pick this date around this time of year, what's going on that may prevent me from getting all the, from selling it out. So just keep that in mind. All right. But make sure you pick a good date. Then after that, number 3, and I'm only going to give you guys 5. Number 3 is going to be book the comics, okay? And basically what I mean by this, it will book the comedians. And basically what I mean by this is when you do this, bro, you want to really make sure you pick strong comics. I was, after producing a couple shows, talking to a few comedians. I know sometimes we like to put on our friends and stuff like that, and there's nothing wrong with that. However, your friend may have already had 15 shows that month in the scene that you're in, And out of the 15 shows that they have they done 15 different sets? So you got to really take into account how many people can they bring. What I like to do is I like to early on I would pick people who I felt like could bring a strong crowd. Everybody don't not too many comics like bringer shows, but you got to understand every show is a bringer show. Literally. Even if you're at the stage where you're a feature or a headliner, if you're a headliner, you're only going to get put in clubs and theaters and arenas depending on how many people come to the show. Like every show is a bringer show. So I don't really harp too much on comedians about like, oh, they got a good crowd, they got a good fan base. I don't really think about that. I think about, okay, which show is going to give me the most diverse show? You know, right? I got this loud, wow comedian. And then I have this soft monotone comedian. And then I have a woman comic who is more, edgier and dirtier than any guy I've ever seen. Then I may have, a trans comic. I try to make it as diverse. I don't want to have the same type of style on there unless they're just absolutely killers and just absolutely funny. I try to put different type of styles. And even if they styles are similar, then I may change the lineup. Okay, this wild, crazy comic, he's going to go first. I have another wild, weird, crazy comic, but he's going to go towards the end of the show. All right. So I try to do it, spread it out like that so that they're not redundant and see the same type of act over again. But also with the comics, this is the point where you let them know if you're going to pay them or not. This is the most important thing to me, in my opinion. When you are putting together where you're going to pay the comics or not, whether you pay them or not, I don't really care about that. That's up to the comic. If they take it without being paid, that's on them. There's nothing wrong with that. I do feel like people should be getting paid. However, I'm a comic where I'm not going to harp too much about that if you don't pay me. I have a regular job, so I'm not too concerned about that. But shout out to the ones that do, and also shout out to the ones that don't. Some of them don't got it. Like some comics are broke. But some comics have came up to me and say, well, how much should I pay them? So I'll just talk about the shows that I'm producing now at Hashtag. I have 2 shows that I like to do. It's Comedy on the Spot, and then it is Ty Erskine and Friends. If you missed the last Comedy on the Spot, you missed a good show. We'll be back, and we'll be back with Ty Erskine and Friends. But neither here nor there. This is the thing about this. The first show I did this year was Ty Erskine and Friends, and I looked at I have a separate account. I have a business account where my money from comedy goes. And when I looked in there, I was like, okay, what about if I pay all the comics $40, right? So I typed in $40 times like 5. And the first one I didn't have a cameraman. So I just typed in $40 plus like 5 or whatever. Got the price. Boom. Okay. I was like, all right, I'm not going to go. So for every show that I do, I make sure I have $160. So that way, just in case one comic drops, have another one replace them. This is my budget. This is it. Everybody get 40. I'm not doing, unless it's like an out of town comic. I'm not doing this person get 100, this person get 30. No, we're not doing that. However you set the pay scale up, however you set it up. You could have headliner, 2 features, and a host. You could pay the host 15. You could pay the 2 features 30. You could pay the headliner 50. Whatever you can afford. Don't be out here trying to pay the headliner $200 just because you feel like, oh, he's been doing comedy for 10 years. He deserves a couple $100. No, it's within your budget. What can you do? You not balling like that. And if you are, do whatever you want to do. But, for me, I didn't have features, headlines up. It was just for Ty Erskine and Friends. Just everybody's working on their 15-minute set, try to get it better, try to tighten it up. So everybody's going to get 40. Guest spots, I don't pay guest spots for their comedy. I pay them for their time for coming out. I give them $10, $15 or whatever, but I do let them know I do not pay guest spots. But however, I am paying you for your time and, gas or whatever, get you a little weed, whatever. I don't know, but that's just me. But have a pay scale and let them know. If a comedian want to negotiate with you, be like, hey, I can't do 40. Can you do 50? There's nothing wrong with that. However, if you don't want to do that and you say no, there's nothing wrong with that neither. Don't be mad if a comic isn't going to accept what you take. I have some comics where they be like, well, the book me is like $500. And I was like, okay, well, never mind. I thought I could afford you. This opportunity only provides 50. I appreciate it for letting me know. And then they come back and be like, I can do it. Yeah, I know you can because you don't have anything else to do. So if they say no, there's nothing wrong with it. If they get offended, that's on them. You do what you can afford. Okay. So please do not go broke. For these people, well, they should be getting paid. Yes, they should, but they should also have other other streams of income. If they don't, that's on them. I don't know. I don't be stressing over that. After that, man, you want to promote. You want to promote. I always tell family and friends. I send out a mass text message. Also have like any show that I do or any past emails that I have, I keep them and I send out an overall email in MailChimp. It's an app called MailChimp. So mail as in MAIL and then chimp as in monkey. You'll be like a yellow sign, a yellow app with like a black monkey on there. It sounds so racist, but you could send that out like a mass email to people, put the link in there, let them know that you have a show. Word of mouth actually helps, tell people at your, work, church, your neighborhood, family, friends, whatever the case may be, Facebook, blast it. Also, Eventbrite. People just go on. Sometimes people go on Eventbrite just to look for things to do in the city. If they live there, they're new there, just visiting for the week, they look for things to do. So if you put your show on there and they type in comedy show and they put in a certain dates, they can find you. And sometimes that's how people come to shows. They just look up Eventbrite, things to do. Everybody can't afford to go to the Funny Bone and pay $50 per person to go see Earthquake. So they still want to see comedy. So they go to a local show to pay 15, where as opposed to paying $100 to go get some laughs, they only paid $30 to get laughs. So just keep that in mind. Promote, put it on Eventbrite, word of mouth, use MailChimp, text it to everybody. Have an app called Reminder where it can group people in like a mass text, and it kind of sends out like this like subscription text. And so it just sends, instead of sending everybody the link individually, you can send it to everybody in your phone if they subscribe to it and whatnot. So promote. And then the last thing, man, I didn't type it in here, but the day of the show, man, only thing I could say you is the day of the show. All right, so this is going to be number 5. It really is no tip. Only thing I can say is like to don't be stressed the day of the show, because it is stressful. Try to make sure that all the comics are there on time. Trying to make sure that if you're trying to scramble some money or whatever, that every all the funds are there and whatnot. For me personally, I just try to, I don't, for the comics, for comedy producers who, okay, you get paid based off these ticket sales. If that's how you operate, it's how you operate. I personally, I just think that's just too much stress. I already got the money, whether the show sells out or not. The last thing I want to do is charge a comic to come into a comedy show where they've already seen these comics tell these jokes for free. That to me don't make sense. So when a comic tells me, oh, you have to pay to be in this show, unless I really rock with that comic or I'm really interested to see that comic, none of us are on the Funny Bone stage selling out. You're just doing local shows. So no, I'm not going to pay, because this is just my little rant real quick. I'm not going to pay because I just seen them do the same jokes for free. And now you want to charge me. So it sounds like you as the producer sounds really broke. I'm not saying that this is the case. I'm just saying you sound broke. And it sounds like you need me to help you pay these comics. No, not doing that. You should, if you don't got the money, don't produce shows. That's why I always have a certain amount. This is my budget for this show, and this is what it is. Like, and then I also do that because if the venue takes forever to give you the money, which is fine, I'm not mad about that. Things happen. I don't want comics going out in the town saying, yeah, Ty didn't pay me, Ty didn't give me my money, or he took 2 weeks to give me my money. No, I pay comics before they go on stage. So keep that in mind. Like, whatever you can do to prevent as less stress on the day of the show, do that. Like, if you need an assistant, like if you got a sister or a cousin or a girlfriend that can help you out, do that. Like, this is, everybody eat. Like, you know what I mean? Like, whatever you need to do. If you need to get you some young comics that just started comedy for a year ago or a couple months, say, hey, I'm not going to pay you, but I want you to come to this show, help me out. I want you to see how things are ran, and then eventually down the line, I'll give you a guest spot at some point in time. Have them help you run the door or take ticket sales or make sure that comics need water or whatever, running errands or whatever the case may be, because they'll remember that. And then you never know who that comic could be, and they can give you opportunity later. So the day of the show, just try to make it as less stressful as possible. Sometimes I even take off work. Work isn't stressful for me, but I do have to get up early, and I don't want to have to get up early on this day of the show, and then I got to be up all night. Like, make it the day of the show, make it as less stressful as possible, bro. Just make sure everything is in order. Comics are going to hit you up after you already then told them how much they're getting paid, after you already told them what time to be there, after you done already told them what the order is, they still gonna ask you. What I do, I don't even let it stress me out. If somebody I already gave you the order, if you want to ask me the day of, that's fine. My response is going to be, wait till you get to the I'll have the list up at the show. I put a whole list up, take pictures. I'll pay you before you get there. If because comics, they will ask you 50,000 questions that you already answered the day of the show, and I'll heart, instead of me answering the question, I'll heart the message that has the answer to the question that you need. And it's nothing personal. It's just that you already are anxious. You might already be stressed. You might not have the sales that you want, and you might want to sell it out, but you're like 50 tickets short of selling it out, and or maybe only 6 people bought tickets, because some people like to buy tickets the day of. Like, it's a lot of stress. So whatever I can do to make it as less stressful as possible the day of the show, that's what I do, bro. That's what I do. So if you've never produced a show before, you do not have to go out there spending all this hard earned money, spending thousands of dollars for comics who don't have credits, who just looking to get some money because they broke. Like, don't do that. Try to work with comics that are genuine about this, that take this craft seriously, even if they don't want to do it full time, even if it's just a hobby. Like, try to work with good working comics, and make your show as diverse as possible, because that'll also bring in different people. If you just have all straight people on there, it might not sell out. If you have gay people, straight people, an Asian, a Mexican, a black, 2 whites, I don't know, like, make it diverse as possible to try to bring in as much people as possible. And if you already have a second date lineup, tell them about the next show. Tell them to follow you. Tell them to follow maybe you have a Instagram page for your show. Tell them to follow the page to keep up with new shows that you have. When they at the door, I mean, you should already get their emails from Eventbrite. Record their emails. The next day, send them a email that says, "Thanks for coming out. Here's some pictures from the show. There's the next show." Already have stuff lined up to let them know, to just seem organized, really, to be honest with you. If you stay organized day of the show, I promise you it'll be less stress on you and your comedians. You want them to have fun. You want to set a good atmosphere. So make sure you do that too. Some people get DJs. I got a phone with Spotify that I pay $10 for. That's my DJ. I make good playlists. Like, you don't gotta do all that. You ain't there yet. If you got the money for it, do it. But even then, you might not recoup the return. So just keep in mind for that. There's nothing wrong with starting off small. Then you outgrow that. Boom, go big. And then sometimes you may never know. Your show may start at a local bar. Now it's at the Funny Bone. You never know what could happen. So put your foot out there. Try to go out there and produce a show. Just do one. Come back. Let us know how it went. Let us know if these tips, these tools, these traits helped you. Hopefully they did. I don't really do too many single interviews, but we're going to be changing, like, the ideas to change the format a little bit, where we give you some interviews, but then I kind of sit down with just comics and we just shoot the shit. Sometimes I think the episodes are a little too serious and we need to lighten it up to just give you that laughter, that relief that you need at work. So we might go more so in that route. But I appreciate you guys. Make sure you click the link in my bio at TYE Comedy on Instagram. You can find me on Facebook at Ty Erskine. You can find me on YouTube at Ty Comedy. Make sure you subscribe, like, share, leave a review, so that way the numbers can keep going up. We're closer to 100 episodes. I appreciate all of you guys that's been staying here with me for this journey to 100, and we're just going to keep going, keep growing, and keep making people laugh, man. Like I said, I'll be at the Funny Bone next week. I'll be at Wiley's Comedy Club next weekend as well for their fireworks comedy competition. I'm so excited. I can't wait to hear or see or come to one of your shows, whether you're in the local scene or maybe we've never met and you're in Montana, or you may be in Australia. I don't know, but I thank you guys for listening. I thank you guys for tuning into this episode. And as always, man, we will definitely